Y'all already know the drill. We are back for yet another Yap session, but this one is about the Dimension series. So, I say we get right into it. Alright, so in my written points, I have explained the plot, well, both plots of the Dimension series, explain the Dimension chain, linking all the series dimensions together. That would be like the Gacha dimension, the glitch dimension, the cyan dimension, all those dimensions. Talk about why I don't alter the character designs. I will go in depth in that in a bit. Talk about the future of the series, absolutely, and last but not least, power scale. So to begin, the Dimension series is not over. Yes, I know the last episode was a bit misleading, but nope. The story of Dimensions hasn't even begun yet. So yes, Dimensions Part 21 is in the works. And right now, I'm prioritizing ForeHidden Club X Episode 1. So, it may take a little while before it drops, but it will drop. It might be like the third or fourth video I upload on the channel. So, as of right now. So, yeah, keep that in mind. The Dimension series takes place in what's known as a dimension chain. A dimension chain is when the wormholes of the dimension chain are limited to only being able to connect certain dimensions and cannot lead to outside of those dimensions. So for example, all the preset clubs, aka these things, are all connected via wormholes. These wormholes can only lead from one dimension or quote-unquote club to another. These wormholes are limited to these locations and can't do things like send Bunuku to Silicious dimension because, they're limited only to those dimensions. However, there are some dimensions that aren't from the presets club that both Bunuku and other series characters such as Oceanic Blaze can access, but that'll be explored later down the line of the series because the Dimension series and the Origin series are both connected. They just don't take place in the same quote-unquote dimension or continuity, I guess you could say. So, Oceanic Blaze could end up in Bunuku's dimension, but that doesn't happen because, honestly, plot. There's two plot points in the Dimension series. The smaller picture, as I like to call it, and the bigger picture, as I like to call it. The smaller picture is Bunuku's goal of trying to bring his Dimension's members back to the Gacha dimension. The goal that he had since the beginning of the series, since episode 1, since he was the only one left in his dimension. Yeah. The bigger picture is the Dimension Scatter event itself. That thing that constantly gets mentioned, but I never actually animate any meaningful flashbacks that give us decent information on what the heck it's about. And it's intentionally vague in a way because I don't want to reveal everything about the Dimension Scatter event because it's pretty crucial to the story, like massively crucial. And if I just give away every single thing that happened, it will completely defeat the cruciality of the Dimension Scatter event. The Dimension series is actually my favorite series to come up with ideas for in terms of like the arcs and the episodes and whatnot. Mainly because for the Origin series, I base the characters around the story itself. So when I like create a story for the Origins or like an arc or stuff like that, I create the thought in my head first, come up with the storyline, and then make the characters afterwards. But for the Dimension series, I base the story around the characters. So I see what characters I could potentially implement into the story, and then write the story around a way to have that character make sense in the plot. Which is why we have three, Mihara, Ishida, and Louisa. All three members of the Gacha dimension that aren't actually originally from the Gacha dimension. Because when I make the Dimension series, I try my absolute best not to alter the characters' designs and personalities because, remember, I didn't make the character designs for Dimensions. I just made their rules in the series. They're all preset characters that you yourself can read the lore about as long as you have Gacha Club, of course. But I might consider editing the outfit from time to time if you guys want me to, or if I feel it necessary. Because honestly, I don't really feel like, because the entire point of Dimensions was to use the preset characters for a reason. Because the preset characters are hardly used for anything. Like, ever since I started making the Dimension series, I actually like went looking to see if anyone had a similar idea to mine, and I found nothing. So I was like, might as well take this Dimension series thing absolutely seriously and give it my all. So because I'm using other people's creativity to make the series, I don't really feel comfortable editing the character designs in the Dimension series. But because of how far the series has made it, I might consider changing around like a couple that outfits, not permanently, just like temporary stuff. Like, I don't know, a hairstyle change every once in a while. Maybe see characters like with, for example, Rain with his hoodie off or his mask off, or Bunuku with his hat off. Maybe. Well, we've seen Ishida with his hoodie off before, but yeah, stuff like that. So why do I not make too many changes to the character designs I add to the Dimension series? Well, simple. I like the idea of using other people's characters and plopping them into a series I came up with. Altering what they made too much means I'm taking away the uniqueness from someone else's work. Plus, it's way more fun just searching through the preset list for characters with good designs and good profile traits to add to the series, which basically sums it up, honestly. I don't really feel like it's a strange thing, but like I said, I might break away from it down the line of the Dimension series, but right now I don't need to. I may or may not alter the character designs every once in a while, not permanently. Like, we're not gonna see that image where I made all the Gacha Dimension members inside of like a little school with completely altered designs. We're not gonna see stuff like that permanently if I ever do it again canonically in the series, but might do temporary outfit swaps just for fun. And yeah, because I mean, come on, how often are we gonna see the same uh character outfits and not have any explanation as to where they're washing their clothes or if they're even showering actually? Of course, it's not a Yap video without the mention of power scaling. So honestly, I've actually scaled all the Dimensions characters to a degree. Like, I sat down and went through in my head which characters I think would be stronger than, other characters. And compared the strength of the Dimensions characters to the Origin characters, and I'd honestly think that they're fairly even in terms of power, with Origins characters having slightly stronger characters, not to mention Bamu, my goat. So, although within the series itself, the strongest character we've seen on screen probably would be between Rain and Arctic, who they're fairly, relative in power. We've seen a slight example of it in the series canonically. But to be fair, many new characters are going to be added, and I mean many new characters, because I've reached very far in the script of the story that I've written down and plan to add, and I think there's like a solid almost 100. I think there's like of like major characters, there's probably like double digits, but just like characters in general, there's probably a solid 50 or so. And since I didn't actually have to make the characters, I just pick a preset that suits the plot and boom, new character, which is what I love about the Dimension series. I literally just have to put in damn near no work when it comes to like character designing. I just look for a character, this character makes sense to add into the series, boom, they're in the series. And I know it might sound lazy, but that's why there's the story, to make it all tie in perfectly. To end off the video, honestly, Dimensions has got to be my favorite series to think about the story for. There's tons of things I could do with the characters that I have unrestricted access to, and again, it's so fun making a series based on the characters I've been given to use. You think it would be harder, but if anything, it makes it easier to come up with a story with story arcs. But in conclusion, I hope this might have cleared up some confusion with the series. The entire point of Dimensions is that I want to use the preset characters that people hardly ever even talk about. Like, it's very rare to see a preset character in a series. Christian does it. Christian, King of Demon X. I've spoken about him on the channel before. He implemented Looney into one of his series. And yeah, so you're 99.99% unlikely to see a character I made enter the series this early on. Which emphasis on this early on, because I'm not 1,000,000% sure how permanent that fact would be. But you're definitely not likely to see Oceanic Blaze just jump into the Dimension Series and be like, yo, I'm here for plot. But I think I've been talking enough, and so I'm gonna go back to animating. Sorry the next animation is taking so long, by the way, but time management has been tough, juggling YouTube and work. It ain't easy, but no excuses. I will keep animating, and you guys have my word on that. And you do, because I have no intentions of stopping YouTube. I plan to continue until, honestly, until work just completely piles and overboards YouTube. And even then, I might not stop completely. I might just try and, like, I don't know, figure out some way around it. Worst case scenario, I get married, have a son, and then have my son continue the series. It's genius.